not only is saying that just one of the dumbest things you can possibly say, but it's actually the very definition of sexism. Because sexism is specifically attributing certain character traits or biases or whatever towards someone simply because of their sex. So to say that because Christine Ford is a woman, therefore she must be believed, is probably one of the most sexist things that you can say in today's society. I'm going to save that for the next half of this video. So, as far as the story goes, as far as I'm concerned, I guess I can close this video out. I don't know if I have really much else to say. Oh right, there is one more thing. So as the story has kind of progressed with Christine Ford, there have been one of the inconsistencies specifically that I'm referring to is at her hearing, the hearing that they had for Brett Kavanaugh and Christine Ford, which was not that long ago, a week or two ago, where both of them swore under oath that they were going to tell the truth first of all, and Christine Ford stated in her hearing that they had gone to marriage counseling, and that was the first time that she had brought up this instance with her husband, and then some years later, because she had gained some form of claustrophobia because of the rape, that was the reason why they ended up installing another door to their house. Well, as the records indicate, not only were the doors installed before they went to marriage counseling, but the records also show that the doors were actually installed because they were running a small business inside of their house, and they built the extra door for ease of access to the people who were coming in and out of their house. Not only that, but there's no evidence at all to support that Christine Ford is in fact claustrophobic. Apparently, she goes on all kinds of trips where she's on planes and of the such constantly. Now, I don't know how claustrophobia works specifically. I have a little bit of it, and I know that I don't like being in very, very, very confined spaces. But if she's as claustrophobic as she's making herself out to be, where her house is too claustrophobic for her, I know claustrophobia to some degree. When I'm in a certain situation, like I cannot stand it, and I try to get out, and I try to avoid it at every cost. And it doesn't matter how many times you put me in the same situation. I don't get used to it. And so for Christine Ford to say that her house apparently is too small, therefore it's causing her to be claustrophobic, I'm pretty sure that a plane is much smaller. The interior of a plane where everyone sits is much smaller than a household. And I'm supposed to believe that the reason why Christine Ford installed these doors is because she's claustrophobic, that resulted from her sexual assault by Brett Kavanaugh that happened 35 years ago. I don't think so. And here's the cherry on top of all this too, right? So remember, like I said, like the cherry on top of all this is that she said at her hearing under oath that all of this happened after the incident, after marriage counseling. As it turns out, that's not true. All of this stuff happened before marriage counseling, and she's saying that it was after. Christine Ford, you are lying. You are lying out of your ass about what is going on. And I might be wrong, but you're either lying or you really are that foggy on the truth. And if you can claim to be social, look, here's the thing, right? Like, I'm trying to give Christine the benefit of the doubt here. I really am. Okay, I think she's lying, but I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. I love doing the benefit of the doubt because it shows how flawed someone's argument is. If I'm giving Christine Ford the benefit of the doubt on this, let's just say she actually is, let's say that everything that has been called out she's really just not remembering it. That still supports my argument that just because she said she's so sure, actually I haven't made this argument yet, but it supports the argument that I've made, not yet, but I'm going to make it now so that way you guys can hear it. The argument that if you're so fuzzy, if your remembrance of these details are this off, how can you say with such confidence that it was Brett Kavanaugh who was the one who sexually assaulted you 35 years ago? I don't know if the person who actually does something to you is like the one thing that you just remember. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Sorry, I'm still here. I'm trying to find something so I can check the time. But it's really hard for me to believe someone who is inconsistent at every single turn, and they appear to essentially be changing the story to fit their narrative. And there is evidence supporting, obviously, that there have been people behind the scenes that have been coaxing Christine Ford to lie. Obviously I don't want to make this another Christine Ford case, and I can't prove that, but I remember seeing an article on it somewhere online, and I didn't have the time to read it. So look that up. There's some homework that you guys can look into. Look that up and see if it's true. One more thing. I saw a video also of a woman who she did like 26 minutes of Christine Ford's case, where she went through, like, as it was going through, she would pause it, and she was making decisions on Christine Ford's and basically just her body language. She was noticing and pointing out what she considers to be certain body languages that speak as to what she thinks is going on. Again, done by a woman. And this woman thinks that Christine Ford was basically just putting on a show. And look, here's the thing. I believe her. Not because she's a woman, but because she was able to pretty much very well articulate and specify as to what Christine Ford was doing. And yes, to some degree I'm saying that I believe her because she's a woman, but not on the sole basis that she's a woman. That's one of the reasons why I believe her, in the sense that because her being a woman is a prerequisite for the credibility of how she reads other women. It's like if I say men can relate to men as women can relate to women. Women understand other women better than men understand women, because we are both different in how we interact with body language and how we think. And so it's no different from me, which I'm actually going to do, me talking about a man like Brett Kavanaugh and giving my reasons based on how men typically are as to why I believe what I believe in regards to him as a man. So this woman basically breaks down all the body language that Christine Ford is throwing out there, and she's basically saying that Christine Ford is full of crap. She's saying that she's doing all of these body language things. She explained a very interesting thing where Christine Ford, when she would talk in her I'm a victim voice, she would have her head cocked down like this, trying to look all pretty, and at the same time that also it also gives that phlegm sounding tone to your voice. But the interesting thing that she mentioned was that people who, I might be remembering this incorrectly, but it was something along the lines of like, if you actually have that same thing going on with actual phlegm, and you're not trying to force it out like she pointed out that Christine Ford was doing, people will actually have a tendency to try and look more up or to stretch their throat in order to fix that problem. Every time Christine Ford put on her I'm a victim voice, she would always have her head cocked down like this, as if she was trying to force the sound. That's an observation that this lady made. And so now let's compare that to Brett Kavanaugh, right? I also believe that this woman was telling the truth in regards to this, because I am a man, and I know, and like, look, I get that everyone's different, but generally speaking, women who go through something like this are probably going to be very emotional. And all I got from Christine Ford was a sound of her possibly trying to get tears out, but I never saw any actual effort. Like, I never saw a struggle of fighting back tears or anything of the nature. All I heard was that she was basically just trying to sound like she was sad. Whereas take Brett Kavanaugh, for example. A man. That matters because men don't typically tend to express or show emotions in public. And especially that kind of public. That's very public. You got cameras in your face, you got all kinds of people surrounding you. That is very public. Men are not likely to express crying, specifically, maybe anger. I don't want to say completely, I don't want to say that men just don't show emotion at all. But when it comes to crying specifically in public, in that kind of a public situation, men are not likely at all to express or have the emotions that Brett Kavanaugh did. This man was legitimately trying to hold back tears. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention too is that this is something that a woman said, and I agree with it because of my experience. A woman said that one of the women that I encountered online said that she thinks that Christine Ford is full of crap because she thinks that those are fake tears. Now, initially I hadn't thought of that, but I do believe her now that I heard that said, because I recall back some years ago where I knew a girl in high school, in college, who was in drama, who she could make herself cry on demand, and it was believable. I mean, granted, Christine Ford didn't actually cry, but she's still a woman, and because women are more connected to their emotions, obviously I'm pretty sure that it's possible that she was putting on some kind of an act. Meanwhile, take Brett Kavanaugh, a man who's trying to keep it together, and you can tell that this man is on the brink of crying. A man who's not faking tears is not going to attempt to hold back tears. That's not how men work. Victims are the ones who will just start wailing the loudest because they want the most sympathy. They want to make sure that they're heard. Granted, Christine Ford didn't do that. I'm just making a point in the difference between. See, I'm saying if you want to, because here's something that I heard. If the argument here, which I've actually heard, is that Christine Ford gave a more credible testimony based on what? Emotions? If that's the way that you want to judge this hearing, I disagree still. Brett Kavanaugh had the most emotional hearing because he was the one who was actually trying to fight back tears, not Christine Ford. All I heard from Christine Ford was a croaky voice. Let me see. Do I got anything else that I wanted to throw out there? It truly is bizarre that in the supposed, this is what my next video is going to be about because this is where the conversation has turned very quickly soon after all of this stuff coming out, which was that the whole rape culture thing, right? That's the talking point that has popped up now. That's been talked about more than the case itself, where people have literally used the case of Christine Ford and Brett Kavanaugh to say, see, this is an example that we live in a rape culture. Get out of here, dude. Like, Brett Kavanaugh has been proven innocent. Christine Ford, on multiple accounts, has been proven to either be lying or not recalling the facts correctly. She's not credible. She's not. Now, I want to end this video to preface the next one, saying that in the next video, I'm going to talk about the whole rape culture thing, and I'm going to talk about specifically because I know that I want to talk a lot about that, just pretty much that, and I want to leave people with this, is that I understand the arguments for why people believe that we live in a rape culture, and I'm going to address the stigma behind women having reluctance to come forward and all that stuff in the next video. I just want to make sure that I make that clear because I don't think that all of this is as cut and dry, and I'm not someone who overlooks these cases. I want to make that very clear before I get to the next video, because there seems to be some stigma that because I don't believe in a victim of rape, that somehow not only means that we live in a rape culture, but that I support rape. And that's not true. That's inaccurate. That's a misrepresentation on the left. It's a logical fallacy created by the left so that they don't have to actually address the specific cases that they bring up themselves, and all that stuff. So my final thoughts on this whole thing is that I know that this is all said and done. I would encourage you guys to look into this stuff yourself. I'm just giving my opinion on this. There's a lot more to it than this. But my overall opinion on all of this is, no matter which way you spin it, Christine Ford is not credible. She's not credible at any turn. Now, none of this is to say that, again, none of this is to say that I don't think Christine Ford might have had something happen to her. I think that this is just another attempt by the Democrats, as made clear by Feinstein, Christine Ford's lawyer. This is just another smear tactics campaign, as done in the past, to try and tarnish Republicans for picking up positions in the political office. We see this happening all the time, and notice that now no one's saying anything. No one has spoken a word. The Democrats have thrown Christine Ford under the bus. They have abandoned her. They have abandoned their narrative. All of a sudden, all of this just magically died out of thin air, as if they actually cared about the truth. This is the thing. The Democrats, the Republicans, they only care about the truth when it conveniences their narrative. They only care about the truth when it pushes their political agendas. Republicans, we're reactionary. So you can't make that argument against us. The only reason why people like me get involved in politics and we speak out against these cases, because look, I get it. I don't know every single story that happens, and so if I see one, I'm going to talk about it. But Democrats will find a story, and instead of seeking the truth, they will take that story and spin it to their advantage. And then you have people like me and conservatives who will see that and then do our own critiques on it. And because we believe that these people are lying about their interpretation of the story that they're using, we'll say, no, you're wrong. And so, all of these shootings that have happened, all of these things only matter to the left when it conveniences their narrative. What happened to the gun control debate? That was only there for a hot minute. What happened to David Hogg? They all disappeared. No one cares about him anymore. Now Christine Ford. This was hot for only a couple weeks. As soon as everything was said and done, after the investigation was complete and Christine Ford was proven to be a liar or dishonest at best, Democrats didn't care anymore. Why is it that the truth only matters when there is something to gain from it? See, people like me, like Republicans, I don't have anything to gain from this. I'm speaking about this because I believe that the truth matters. I believe that getting the truth out to people as soon as possible is important. And on top of that, I'm not asking for anything from you guys. I mean, it would be nice if you want to support what I'm doing, but I have no gain in this. I make these videos when I drive to work. That's it. That's all the time. I'm giving you guys time that I could be listening to music or doing whatever else the heck I wanted to do. But the left, they only do things when they have something to gain out of it. I don't know. That just seems a little bit fishy to me. So this video actually was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. So like I said, these two videos were going to be pretty long. I think the second one might be shorter, but I'm not sure. We'll see. But that's just kind of, those are my thoughts on the initial, well, not the initial, but the entirety of the case thus far. And so, if anyone out there has anything, look, here's the thing. Like, if Christine Ford if something actually happened to her, I hope that she can remember this. Like, I'm not even saying that I hope that she has to live and suffer with this for the rest of her life. I'm just saying that I think she's lying about it being Brett Kavanaugh. I think she's being inaccurate about it being Brett Kavanaugh. And so if something happened to her, I hope that she can figure out or remember who exactly it was that this person, if you can, is brought to justice. The last thing that I want to say, I forgot one more thing, is that the thing here too to remember is that all this happened when they were minors. So how do you want to, I don't know how the law works specifically, but I know that we have a juvenile hall. And as far as I know, if you go to juvenile hall as a kid and then you come out when you're an adult, all of your records are dropped. That way you have a second chance at life. So it's like, well, what do you expect us to do? You know, are we supposed to imprison Brett Kavanaugh for a supposed attempt rape that happened when he was a minor? I mean, is that what you want? Because I mean, and some people want to say, well, like if he lied under if he was guilty, then he lied under oath. Not necessarily, because according to Christine Ford's own testimony, Brett Kavanaugh was so drunk that he passed out shortly after Christine Ford got away. And so whenever he actually went up there and said that this never happened, it's even if she's right, it's even possible that he's not lying because he actually doesn't remember. Meanwhile, you got Christine Ford, who is lying about timelines as to when things happen, and nothing's happening to her. And so the thing is, like, if you want to hold Brett Kavanaugh accountable for something that he did as a minor, then Christine Ford, I hope that you're also going to be willing to be held accountable as far as holding everyone else in that household accountable for their irresponsibility, because everyone in that house was a minor and they were all drinking. Just because Brett Kavanaugh did something that was arguably worse than drinking, I hope that you're also going to hold yourself accountable to the same standards that you want to hold Brett Kavanaugh to now as an adult. So yeah, you might have drank as a minor, but if the argument here is that you want to hold a minor accountable for an adult accountable for something that he did as a minor, then I hope that you're also going to be willing to follow through on your own standard, and that you're also going to be willing to pay the price for the underage drinking that you did as a child. Anyways, I think that I'm pretty much done with this. Until next time, guys, this is the Conservative Christian signing out.